This time on Loving Cars, I show you why I wouldn't buy another 1-liter 3-cylinder turbocharged engine from Nissan. That's next on Loving Cars. Now, before you crucify me or before you say I always complain, I want to tell you, I am a big fan of Nissan. I would buy a Nissan than any other brand that you can be. I'm a bit biased to Nissan, and I have no idea why I love Nissan, because they don't produce the greatest cars of all time. I mean, compared to the Chinese, Japanese, and other, Germans and other European companies. But I still love them, and I still have faith in the brand itself. However, today I will show you why I will not buy another 1-liter 3-cylinder turbocharged engine from Nissan. They call it a 1-liter. In fact, it's not even a 1-liter. It's a 0.9 liter. Come with me. Let me show you why. You see, this engine is inside a Nissan car, but it's not a Nissan car. This is a Renault TCE engine found in the Renault Clio. It's not even a 1-liter. It's a 0.9 liter. It's way too small for it to be a 1-liter. The first reason that makes me hate this engine is because of this turbocharger. It's way too small for the engine, and there's a horrible turbo lag that takes place on this engine, and because this engine is small, it has to work hard in order to move such a gigantic body like this one. You have to rev the car up to 2000 rpm in order for it to start having an oomph or to start kicking in. This makes you look horrible and pathetic when you're moving from standstill or in a traffic light. That's one reason why I wouldn't buy another 1-liter 3-cylinder turbocharged engine. They have a horrible turbo lag. Reason number 2, when it's hot, it loses power. You can feel that this engine is actually struggling, and the car is struggling. With a full house in this car, I absolutely struggle getting from the wet go to start pushing. And when you turn on the air conditioner, it's like you're dragging it down. You're forcing it to work when it cannot work anymore. It's like you're pushing it to the limit. It takes away the power. It robs the engine of power. Therefore, most of the time when it's hot, I open windows rather than using the air conditioning at low speed. It's when I'm driving at around 80, 60 or 100 kilometers an hour that I will turn on the air conditioning, because by then the rev count or the revs in the car are already beyond or above 2000 rpm. Therefore, the turbo is actually boosting and it has a little bit of power. But beside that, it is a horrible underpowered engine, and I hate driving it. Number 3, is it number 3 or number 2? I kind of forgot, but I believe it's number 3. Because these engines are too small, they have to work extra hard to pull or to haul such a big body of a car. I mean, Nissan did try to save and take off some weight, in weight reduction on this vehicle, but still, this engine feels like it will be suited in a motorcycle than in actually a car like this one, because it struggles to pull this particular vehicle. And another reason, it has a timing chain. However, Nissan Service Interval recommends that this car should be serviced every 15,000 kilometers. If you have a 3-cylinder turbocharged engine from Nissan, service it every 10,000 kilometers, because after 11 or 12,000 kilometers, when you start the engine at the morning, the timing chain squeak to show you that the oil doesn't lubricate it properly. So what's going to happen is, as soon the timing chain will stretch, and when it stretch, it will jump timing. When it jump timing, it will chew your engine. You will have to change the intake valves and all of that, with the piston coming together with the intake valves, and you're going to bend a lot of things. That's an expensive fix. This engine, just for a shell, without turbocharger, without injectors, without coils, without cables, just the block and the head, 90,000 rands on a Nissan dealer. That's not cheap. So until Nissan develop their own 3-cylinder natural aspirated or turbocharged engine themselves, without taking or importing technology from the French Renault, I'm not buying their 3-cylinder engine. And one other engine that I will advise you to stay away from is the 1.3 liter 3-cylinder turbocharged found in the Nissan Qashqai. It does have boost, but it experiences the same turbo lag. They try to adjust it there, but the same as you find in this vehicle. And because it's a bigger SUV, it takes a toll and a strain on the engine to move such a big body. I have no idea why Nissan continue downsizing their engines and putting them inside bigger cars. But until they develop their own engine like they did in the Navara, they did in the Almera, they did in the NV350, which is the Impendulo, even though it's not as reliable as the Toyota Quantum, and they did in the old Nissan Cheetah, I am not buying 3-cylinder turbocharged engine. As a matter of fact, cars that I would advise you to buy on the Nissan range is the Nissan Navara, because the engines are reliable and robust, is the Nissan X-Trail. Buy a manual one, do not buy a CVT. If you're buying a Nissan Magnite, I would advise you to buy the manual transmission, even though the manual transmission doesn't feel good. However, if you have a manual transmission, you know that your vehicle is going to last longer. The only thing you're going to worry about is your engine, instead of worrying about your engine and your transmission, because CVTs from Nissan are crap. Avoid any technological advance Nissan Qashqai. It will give you problems. For example, the e-power ones, the one with a hybrid of an engine, stay away from them. They are horrible. When it comes to technology, they will give you problems left, right, and center. That's it from me when it comes to the Nissan engine that I wouldn't buy anymore.